After a year of Strand being in the game and hand cannons being made the meta primary weapon, we have finally gotten a good Strand hand cannon. Better Devils was a kinetic hand cannon introduced in Destiny 2 Vanilla, and has now finally been reintroduced as a Strand hand cannon. Unlike Criminals, it didn't get any stat buffs from a G1 variant, so it has fairly mid-base stats compared to most hand cannons. Better Devils has 40 range, 42 stability, 40 handling, 40 reload speed, 75 bullet mag, and 10 AE, which puts it generally on the low range in terms of base stats on most 140 hand cannons. Judgment for comparison, a hand cannon which is regarded as a fairly low stats hand cannon, originally released at a similar time, has 44 range, 42 stability, 42 handling, 40 reload speed, 80 bullet mag because of its sights, and 10 AE. And that was in the Trials of Osiris mode for that time period. We are actually at a point where seasonal weapons actually compete with old Trials weapons. Kept Confidence, for example, has better stats, with 46 range, 56 stability, 45 handling, 40 reload, 76 bullet mechanism, and 19 AE. However, with how many stat increasing perks there are in the game on top of Masterworks, barrels, and mags, you can fix this problem very easily if you want to build into it. Now, perks. I'm not going to list all of them because there are 12 perks in each column and I don't feel like doing all the editing. However, in PvE it is basically just the best Strand primary in the game, as Better Devils can get Reconstruction, Rapid Hit, Slice, Pugilist, and Demolitionist all in the third column, whilst having access to Frenzy, One for All, and Hatchling in the fourth column. And if you for some reason are insane like me and are able to reset your rank, I believe, 4 times, you can get a roll of either Reconstruction, Rapid Hit, Slice, with Pugilist and Demo, on top of Frenzy, One for All, and Hatchling all on the same gun, which should allow it to work in literally all content in the game, and any Strand build without needing multiple rolls. However, that's if you manage to get the, I believe, 1 in 72 chance drop. Obviously not including barrels or magazines. In PvP though, there are some pretty good perks. I believe though, when the stats are as low as they are, I don't really see much point using it outside of the few niche rolls there are, as just other kinetic slot hand cannons do exist in plentiful amounts. Midnight Coup, even though I don't like it, is still obtainable and can do what this does with better handling and reload speed. And Rose is just the best hand cannon in the game with the only requirement of doing competitive and having some engrams. Which, competitive is actually pretty decent this season, and if you're a decent enough player you should get a minimum silver and most likely gold, based off everyone's ranks I've seen. So you'll most likely get the 3 drops a week and a decent roll in no time really. However, yes, considering that it is probably much easier to get for the majority of people, the generally good roll is probably going to be Rapid Hit, Perpetual Motion, Moving Target in the third column, with Killclap, Explosive Payload, Zen Moment, or Elemental Capacitor in the fourth column. A funny roll you have access to on this thing is probably going to be Perfect Float and Frenzy, where after being in combat for 6 seconds, which means taking damage or dealing damage once every 6 seconds, will grant you 30% flinch resist, 30 AE, 100 handling, 100 reload, and a 15% damage boost, which realistically means you have quick draw, 2 unflinching mods worth of anti-flinch, enough AE to give you 70 AE with both a in-flight compensator and Icarus grip, and the ability to 2-head 1 body or resolve and 3-tap to turn overshield to the pad. All for shooting someone and or taking damage within the last 6 seconds, which can be a bit of a challenge sometimes in the current sandbox due to all the special around the place. But if and when the special meter makes its return or in freeze, you will have this active pretty often and it can be very powerful. And it's something I actually really want on my perfect roll of the Better Devils. And I'm gonna pray that I can actually get it before the end of the season, because so far it does not want to give me it whatsoever. Another roll I want on my Better Devils is the roll I recommended for Criminal's Dagger last video, being Trigger and Zen Moment. As I explained last video, Zen Moment is good for flinch resist, something greatly important on hand cannons as you cannot miss a shot for optimal time to kill, and is especially important on 140s, as you cannot 2-head 1 body without damage buffs. So missing that shot is basically death if you're fighting against another player with actual decent aim. Therefore, flinch resist is incredibly important, as primaries can deal so much flinch, especially in the current state of the game where team shooting is a regular occurrence. It also makes your shots much easier to hit by reducing the visual flinch, which is going to be greatly useful with this hand cannon model, because at least in my experience, the betterdevils model has a tendency to block your reticle or target, making it annoying to hit follow-up shots at times, which usually is something that has completely killed the gun for me. However, this hand cannon being unique in that it has Zen moment and air trigger on a 140, with at least acceptable stats, is literally perfect enough for me to just play around the bad model. Air trigger is honestly such a good perk in my opinion, that having it on a 140 is just very much so worth it. However, as I said in Criminal's video, having air assault would most likely be better in the overall scheme of things, as air assault is just flat AE. It being on betterdevils would grant it a 53 passive AE with no exotic, and just a in-flight compensator with a close grip, which is enough to hit those shots, and getting literally a kill would bring that up to 83. With 53, I do believe you will hit almost every shot with some pretty forgiving bullet mag, and 83 you will hit basically every shot with some pretty good bullet mag. So therefore, Austringer, a hand cannon with air assault and Zen moment, has to just be objectively better for this purpose because it has objectively better stats and basically the same thing as you already want to do, right? Well, one, I really like Austringer, but using it is so free, it literally just makes my aim worse over time, so therefore I don't really like using it. And two, I said almost. Not every, I said almost. Which is where air trigger comes in. Air trigger will increase your reload speed and accuracy in the air, whilst also decreasing your bullet magnetism. The reload speed isn't as important, however the reload speed increase does seem to be the equivalent to that of Outlaw, which just hopping before reloading can be incredibly nice. The main draw, in my opinion, is that accuracy. Currently, D2 Foundry, the site I use for my statistics and the one you should use for any weapons, doesn't have any data for the perk. However, as someone who used Gutshot pretty regularly, I do believe the aim assist penalty is similar to that of Gutshot, which from my experience was basically unnoticeable with decent aim. But the accuracy buff, on the other hand, is incredibly noticeable. It's at the point where with the same mod combo mentioned with 40 AE, you can get 100% inner accuracy, from my experience at least. And it is absolutely enough for me to use this thing over Austringer, as I quite enjoy when my gun shoots in the direction I point it, even if I'm bad at the game. And I do love having to actually try to hit my shots sometimes. So ideally, I would want air trigger, perfect foot, with Zen moments, frenzy, or explosive payload, which is the perk I currently have on my betterdevils, as Bungie seems to refuse to give me a decent air trigger Zen betterdevils with actual range. However, for the rest of you, I imagine it'll be what I said earlier of just rapid hit perpetual motion / moving target, with kill clip / explosive payload / Zen moments / elemental capacitor. So yeah, I believe that's pretty much just everything. It's a very similar gun to Criminals for me, so I can't really say much more than just explaining the perks a little more, so yeah. I'll see you all in the next video, like, comment, sub if you enjoyed, and adios.